Financing for mergers, acquisitions, and management buyouts. Let's take a look at the capital stack. The capital stack represents the tiers of financing that are used to complete an acquisition. At the top of the stack, we have senior debt. Senior debt ranks in first priority to be paid out in a liquidity event. It's the most secure and also has the lowest rate of return. Private equity firms that are doing a leverage buyout will try to put as much senior debt in place as possible to enhance their equity returns. After maximizing the senior debt, they'll then move on to subordinated debt. As the name implies, this ranks junior to the senior debt. It's higher risk and pays a higher interest rate. Following the subordinated debt is the equity piece. The equity piece is the actual check that the investor has to write to buy the business. So in combination here we have the full capital stack, the amount of senior debt, subordinated debt, and equity that's used to complete the transaction. As you'll see on the next slide, there can be various components of each of these types of financing. We'll walk through some high-level overview of each of them. This is a really great chart that illustrates the profile of various types of debt. So across the horizontal axis, we have the time to maturity. Across the vertical axis, we have the dollar value of the debt outstanding. So let's look at the first type of debt, senior debt, the first tranche. This is often equal amortizing debt. For example, it may pay back over 3 years in equal installments over the 3 years. As you can see by the declining line over time, the principal amount is being reduced over those 3 years at a steady pace. Next, after the senior debt, we may have tranche B, another piece of senior debt, with what's called a balloon payment. This debt amortizes more slowly than the senior debt, and then has a balloon payment that comes after the senior debt is fully paid off. This gives the business a buffer to repay the tranche B after tranche A is repaid. Next in line would be an example of mezzanine financing or high yield debt that's non-amortizing. As you can see by the horizontal line across the top, the principal is not being repaid at all until one final bullet repayment at the end. And notice again how this bullet payment occurs after the balloon for tranche B, which is after the final payment for tranche A. And next we have payment in kind, or PIK. A PIK loan has accrued interest that builds and increases the principal amount that's owed over time. So as you can see, this line of principal actually goes up over time. And then finally, there's one very large bullet repayment at the end. And as you can see, this one also has a buffer after the mezzanine finance is repaid and tranche B and tranche A. So you can see how the capital structure can be designed in such a way that the cash flow of the business is able to service each of these types of debt and maximize the leverage that can be used in an acquisition.